Welcome to Sophomore Swag.
Welcome back to another episode. We're doing another episode of the whole teaching collaboration thing. I'm here with Jennifer Bekhuis. Welcome, Jennifer. What's going on?
Thank you. Welcome. Thanks for having me again. Yeah, everything's good here. We're in the Netherlands, like last time, and this time I'm going to interview you about how it is in American school system with mobile telephones, the curse, which is a telephone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we learned last time that there's a lot of similarities over in the Netherlands and the United States. So what we're each seeing is not like, limited to our areas. It's kind of global, right?
Yeah, it's a global issue, definitely. I think what surprised me the most about our previous conversation is that actually, even though we are literally half a world apart, our teens are going through the same thing, which is reassuring, actually.
Yeah, misery loves company, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But maybe I've got a few questions for you.
Yes, yes, I'm ready.
Can I ask them or you can answer them?
Sure.
But how do smartphones enhance your educational experience?
So they definitely do have a place for sure, right? Like the teachers that have been around a long time are all like, I don't want them on their phone. Put the phones away. But at the same time, these students have grown up connected to everything, and to just be away from the phone, they start to almost get crippled, right? They start having anxiety, right? They have anxiety attacks and all that. So I don't feel like I need to take it away from them. I feel like I need to make sure that they're just not watching TikTok on it or something, or watching videos while I'm trying to teach. So I kind of have the rule that you can have your phone out on the table, right? They can all be in the center of the table. And if someone, like your mom sent you a text, you can grab it, text her back, and put it back, right? So it's near you. But if I see that they're playing Clash Royale right now, which is a video game, right? And they're all like in this. So if I see that going on, then I'm sending to the office, and they're going to take it. Now, as far as how it enhances education, we use it for Kahoot, right? For all these online games, for sure. While they're working on coding or something, they may need to look up, I can't get this right. Let me see how someone else has done it. So there's definitely a place. And there, if I need information, if someone sends me a text on my phone and someone's not dying, I'm not answering it till I get home, because then I get my text from my iPhone on my iMac, right? And I got this nice big screen and a keyboard with two hands. Like I am in no hurry to use, if you texted me, I wouldn't answer you till later on, right? Because I'm not going to go with one finger and go, I'm not going to do that, right? But that's how they grew up, right? So they're like, with the phone, right?
They're not ninja thumbs there.
They are. Their thumbs are so fast. So it's definitely how they connect and how they respond. And it makes them much faster at everything they're doing. So I feel like it definitely enhances who they are, and it allows them to be much more than I was at their age, right? So it definitely enhances it. Of course, the great things about it are the problems about it also, right? So,
but from the classroom perspective, so our perspective as teachers, do you think it helps them stay organized and managing their schoolwork?
I mean, could we do it without it? Of course, we always have, right? I don't think it helps me stay organized. I feel like it introduces another problem, for sure, right?
Do you think it helps the students stay organized?
I think it distracts them. I don't think it helps them stay organized at all. But my question would be, can we break them from it, right? And do we want to? Do we want to do that to them? So, but I would much rather be in a classroom without them. Don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
So,
but do you think, as you said there, we've got the WhatsApp and stuff and these apps. Do you think it helps the communication between teacher, school, and parents?
I do, because I took a bunch of kids to Atlanta over the summer, and we all used WhatsApp, right? We created a WhatsApp group, and the parents were in it, and we were in it. Everyone could stay in contact, right? One of the teachers didn't join us, who's part of the group, but she was in India, right? And she was on the WhatsApp, right? It's like, it doesn't matter where you are. So, and her cell services just wasn't working there. Like, she couldn't make a call to us, but she could WhatsApp. She was part of WhatsApp. So there's definitely benefits, and there's definitely a place for it in education for sure. I agree. You and I know where the line is, right? And we can put it down and walk away. I don't know, I can, but it's like an appendage to them, right?
Yeah.
So there's definitely a place for it in education. I believe.
But since you sat in a group with these parents, do you find that parents up you directly on your telephone?
No, that they don't contact me directly, and I do send them a text I'll send parents text if they email me and say, like, we were just setting up dual enrollment for my students, right, where they get college credits, and the last day was Monday. So of course Monday night, parents are emailing me at 10 p.m. going, hey, I wanted to do this, but I didn't get to do it. I'm so sorry. What do I do? And I saw that, and I'm like, well, I'm going to send them a real quick text, and I'll text the parent, go, hey, don't worry about this. I'll take care of this in the morning. They're like, oh, thank you so much. And, they won't text me back a week later going, what's going on with my kid's grade, right? Like, they'll wait for me to respond to them. So far, I haven't had the parents use that information like at inopportune moments or whatever. They've been, not like us, I think they know kind of the decorum for using that.
Yeah, but there's always one unreasonable parent that will text you at 11 o'clock in the night. Well, that's my experience anyway.
I haven't had any unreasonable parents yet, but I don't. It could be there. I don't know. So
yeah, they're in another dimension there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have apps which we use to like it's called an older portal, a parent portal.
Yeah.
But you guys have that as well.
Yes, we have a parent portal for the whole the whole student side of our online grading, collaboration, all that stuff, and then there's the whole parent side. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have that too. I think that works really well. So if their kids are sick or they need a day off, they can do it all via the app.
I don't know if ours can do that. They still have to call the school, but the parents can see the grading as I'm putting it in and all that stuff, and why the grades are what there, and if there's a day off coming, and what we're having after school in case they want to know why their kid didn't come right home, like, oh, they're at tennis club or whatever. That's all there for sure.
I think that's definitely a positive development in the smartphone world.
Yeah.
Personally, sure. I find that. But do you think that smartphones can also improve academic performance?
I mean, I think it's a tool, right? So can it do these? It can. They can access information. I mean, you and I went to school. If we wanted information on something, we had to go to the school library, which was huge and had a lot of books and periodicals and all that. Like, the library has nothing in it right now in my school. Like, there's one or two walls of books. Yeah, there's one or two walls of books, and that's it, right? But there's a bunch of computers. But when you and I went to school, information was not readily accessible at our hands unless we read it, right? And they have all of that available to them. So again, it's definitely a tool they could use should they choose to do that in a responsible way, right?
Yeah.
Just like their computers. So I think it definitely adds. It definitely contributes to that. Again, do they know where the line is? They do not. So.
No, exactly. But do you think that a smartphone, if used correctly, could contribute to academic or enhanced academic performance?
I absolutely think it can.
Yeah. If used correctly, then.
If used responsibly, The problem is that they're addicted to it. They can't put it down, even when they're no longer needing it to be used responsibly or correctly. Now they need it to be entertained. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But do you think also smartphones, because privacy is a big issue nowadays, yeah? But do you think that contributes to people's privacy being broken into in school?
So you and I, like, if someone said to us, hey, you can use this, but we're going to track everything you do, everywhere you go, what your purchases are and all that, you and I would be like, no, I'm not interested in that, right? But the minute they get into the mall, they get the free Wi-Fi. And that free Wi-Fi is tracking what stores you went into, what purchases you made. It's tracking everything, right? And I do a online safety week in my class to teach about that. Every time you like something on they don't use Facebook, but whatever. Every time you like something, that was recorded. And there's this internet example of this girl. She's online, and her friend posted something, and she liked it, and then she looked at new bathing suits and trips to Hawaii, and because of that, she looked at those things. The next thing, she was on Facebook. Facebook suggested a diet drink because a girl going to Hawaii buying a bathing suit needs a diet drink, right? And she bought it, right?
Oh.
So, right. And that information is relayed back to Facebook. Hey, look, this worked. You're charging people for these ads. That worked, right?
Yeah.
So, and I was trying to show this, like the minute you give someone information, right? They're now forming an opinion about you, and they're building a profile for you. And you did all of this by saying, yes, I'll take your Wi-Fi, take my information. And every time, this is what I teach in the security class, every time you have any type of interaction, you're increasing your online footprint. So do I think it's dangerous? I do. But when I explain this to them, how many of you don't really care about this? The whole class raises their hand. They grew up giving this information out, right? So they don't care. But you and I are like, no, that's a line we're crossing, right?
Yeah, because the personal information, personal data is invaluable.
Yeah.
It's actually priceless. It's priceless, these conversations that hone in on our vulnerable children, because they are vulnerable.
Yeah.
Online. Yeah. But you also find, like, in school that the apps, like, the popular apps nowadays, which you can send a photo of yourself, they contribute towards bullying in school. But not only bullying of other students, but also of teachers, harassment and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can for sure. I feel like, first of all, when you see a picture of someone else who looks successful and they're thin and they're beautiful and all that, and you're not, at least in your eyes, all that, now you feel like you're shameful and all that stuff. And, you don't know what problems this person's going through and all that stuff, right? But it always looks like they're so successful and so popular. And, good for them, right? But it definitely contributes to, wow, I need to look like that. I need to stop eating. I need to, look different. I need to have some cosmetics. And that's been going on forever, right? With Hollywood, right? So I think it definitely contributes to that whole thing. And with the boys too, they're all trying to work out and outdo each other and be stronger than each other and all that stuff. I think it definitely, my son was a victim of online bullying when he was in like 6th grade. Yeah. People,
it's disgusting.
like it was disgusting. And he was really good about it. He just blew it off. But, I think it's another tool that they could either use wisely or not. And sometimes just the stuff that some kid had created an account that looked like him and talked about how horrible he was. And all his friends started liking it because they just saw it was him and he posted something and they didn't even read it. They just like everything, right? And then we're all like, did you ever go back and read this? And finally one friend read it and go, oh my gosh, this isn't Lex. Like, this isn't Lex Troxel. This is someone else. And we found out about it. That's how we found out. So definitely the opportunity for bullying is there. It puts us in a much scarier place than we were in before this stuff was available, right?
Yeah. We're at the same, but my children are too young for that at the moment. But like in our school, we had one girl whose face was photoshopped onto a porno picture, and the police got involved in the end. But yeah, I mean, it's just disgusting, don't you think?
I absolutely agree.
Yeah. I've got another question for you. Do you think? One second. Do you think there are prolonged or long-term health issues related to smartphones with the continual use? Yeah.
I hope not. I don't. With all the stuff in the air now, the airwaves and all that, and I've got 3 routers in my house. I'm surrounded by equipment at work. We're all like, there's a Wi-Fi spot every 10 feet. Like, I hope not, but is it? Probably, right? Like nothing comes without a cost. So in the end, is it taking like 10 years off our life or making us like, I don't know. Do I think it's happening? I do. I try not to worry about it, right? I don't know if there's enough studies. I know we have preliminary data that, you should shut your Wi-Fi off at night and blah, blah, blah. And that's not happening. I mean,
does that.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah. Who's going to? They're going to have to remember to turn it back on in the morning before they leave. Like, that's not going to work. So, and also, like, you get things throughout the night. Updates. My thermostat is set up by the Wi-Fi. It can't change controls and lights can't come on downstairs without the Wi-Fi. Like, the Wi-Fi needs to work. So
Yeah.
the best we could do is like keep it out of our bedrooms or something, so we're not sleeping right next to it. But it is absolutely something I think about, and I find it hard to believe that all of this, cell signals, Wi-Fi signals, all this, I find it hard to believe that it's not causing a problem.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of my students in classes, including my own two children, are wearing glasses, and I think that is screen related.
Oh.
What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Yeah, that's a completely different issue. And yeah, so that does they are spending more times on screens way earlier than we ever were, right?
Yeah.
So that has to contribute. It has to. I would say, I mean, my whole classes are computer science, and I probably have 90% of the kids wearing glasses.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I see that as well in our school. Do you think that teachers find it difficult to handle or discipline telephone-related incidents in school?
I find it hard to do that. So I'm guessing a lot of them do. It's one of those things where, like, I really don't want to be bothered with this. Like, I've got so much going on, and I don't have anyone fist fighting or calling each other names, but do I really want to get into, I have to call your parents because your phone's out, or now I have to take your phone and send you to the office, and your parent has to come get your phone from me because I've got nothing but time to deal with your parents and your phone, right? So I don't want to deal with it. I have no interest in it, but if how it is, you got to set the rules early on, and if you don't follow through, right, then it's just a jungle scene. So. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but I don't know. Does your school have a policy in regards to its boundaries or limitations to what it can and can't do with telephone-related crimes?
I don't know if I don't know anything about telephone-related crimes other than bullying someone, but like they can't answer the phone or make a phone call for sure. They are not supposed to have the phones out in class unless the teacher says it's okay. But I've noticed that they can't function without it. So. So I let them have it out, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
But the school does have a policy on that. They if they, I mean, I don't know what we mean by telephone-related crimes, but I don't think we have any issues like that. But they do have a policy about not having it out in school.
Yeah, because personally in our school, if a student has reported being bullied via Snapchat or whatever, and then, we say, we can't do nothing about it. It's online. You have to go to the police.
Yeah.
But do you have a similar policy or...
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I feel like once it comes to the phone, we could take the information, and they will. Like when my son was cyberbullied, the school did nothing about it. Right? They couldn't do anything about it, and I don't know that the schools can do anything about it if it's online, if it's in Snapchat. All we can do is make everyone put their phones away so it doesn't continue. Right? But I think cyberbullying is definitely a police matter for sure.
Yeah, I think so. But do you think smartphone use in the classroom exasperates the digital divide among students?
Yeah.
Those who do have the latest iPhone compared to the ones who don't have the latest iPhone.
For sure. There's definitely a class, right? Or class distinctions in school, right? Of who's got what. I mean, we've got one kid who just graduated. He was a senior driving in a Hummer that he bought because one of his projects he came up with was had something to do with Bitcoin, and he was managing people's Bitcoin, like stuff like that. And then we've got people who can't afford a car, right? And so there's definitely an imbalance of student wealth, right? And the iPhone and the sneakers and all that stuff play into that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely exasperates when you and we try and teach everyone like they're the same. I don't care. Like, if they need breakfast or something, let me know. I'll make sure they get taken care of in the morning. But I don't, treat them I just don't treat them differently because of what their financial background is. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but other students, they're quite ruthless, don't you think?
They're ruthless about everything to each other. They say stuff to each other you would never, no one would ever say to you in public, right? Seriously, I feel like the hardest problem in my life was in high school, right? Because everyone was like, I was like the shortest person in high school. As a senior, I was the shortest person, right? So, and of course, in high school, your size is everything, right? Once I got out of high school, no one ever said to me like, we're not giving you this job because you're too short. Like that never happened, right?
No.
So like it's so stupid. And I try to explain to them, like, you'll be out of here as a senior and you'll never hear this nonsense again. Just no one's gonna care, right?
No one's gonna say it.
But they are ruthless to each other, right? Yeah.
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 But, like, do you have a trend? Like in our school, for example, if you have a Samsung, you're like a povo. And if you have an iPhone, you're way out there with the cool kids.
Yeah.
Is that the same in your school?
Yes, because, and let me tell you why. And with the same way with the teachers with each other. Well, and because I'm in a group of, like, 16 teachers, and one of them doesn't have an iPhone. And because of that, in the group chat, none of us can leave the chat, right? We can't rename the chat. We can't do anything because one person doesn't have an iPhone. So I don't think it's just students, right? I'll have to say to her, hey, get an iPhone. I'll buy you one. What do you want? And I refuse to get involved in it. And it's not even about money. They're like, I'm not gonna contribute to this whole iPhone thing, right?
Yeah, a few years ago, I worked in a school, and I worked with older colleagues. So when I say old, they were like 55 plus. I was the youngest one. I felt quite great about that at the time. But then we had a school trip to London. So we're going to London with 64 students, divided by 10 teachers, whereby 6 of them didn't have a telephone. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
No, I know. So, and we talked about this earlier, does it enhance education? When you're on a field trip, it does, right? For sure. When a student says, well, I don't have a cell phone, I'm like, well, you're now going to stand with this other kid the whole trip, and you're never going to leave his side because he's got a phone, right? And that's it. So, so I think the cell phone divide grows by the type of cell phone you have, and it's silly, but I think it isn't just the kids doing it. I think it's the adults also. So
yeah, definitely. But also, like, we have a thing called the telephone tree. So we have one parent. Yeah. We contact that parent.
We have
that parent contacts those parents. It's like Chinese whispers, but then with a telephone. That doesn't work.
No. Well, that existed before cell phones because it cost every time you would pick up your house phone and make a phone call, right? Yeah. So you would call one person, they would call one person or 2 people, and you never spent more than 50 cents for the whole thing, right? Exactly. And that was why. But now you can text 300 people at once in one shot. There's no reason for that. But yeah, we have that. I don't know if it's ever been used. So, like, yeah.
No, but I have a new colleague at work, and she asked me in the week, do you have a telephone tree? And I was like, oh my God, which era are you from? No, we have WhatsApp.
Yeah, right, WhatsApp. Yeah, that's what we use.
And then when I think about it now, I think, oh, it's quite sarcastic. But I was like, hello, no, we have WhatsApp. But do you think your students, they're accessing inappropriate content such as porn and that sort of things?
I don't think they're doing it. I wonder about this with my son also because he's 16. I don't think they're doing it at school. I think they're doing stupid stuff at school, but I don't think they're doing that. I hope not. It's just not the place for it. What are you going to do if you get worked up on it? Like, you're just not in the place to do that, right? Like, do that at home. So, at some point, young adults are going to start doing that, right? And I just hope they learn how to handle that properly. But school is definitely not the place for that. And I don't think my kids are all between, like, they're 14, 15, 16, 17. I don't think they're doing that at school because, or at least not in my class, because I can see what's on their phones, right? Yeah. And that's kind of another thing. Our school blocks all that stuff out anyway. They have to connect to the school Wi-Fi, and they cannot, unless there's a site that, in fact, the school, remember when Microsoft Outlook used to be called Hotmail a long time ago? Right. And they blocked it because they thought it was Hot MALE years ago, right? So they blocked Hot MAI out, right? And you could never get Hotmail. It was so stupid, right? Which I think is why Microsoft changed Hotmail to Outlook Mail because but anyway, the school blocks all that stuff. So as long as they're aware of that, and they block explicit content and all that, I don't think they're doing that at school. If they are, it's a very small percentage, and I hope that they're not. So. No. I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared to deal with that. If that happens, I'm not prepared. Just so you know, like, I'm not prepared to deal with that.
Scale it up. Scale it up.
Yeah.
Just get rid of them.
Principal, like, someone, you got to go. Like, beyond the scope of this class. Yeah. Biology teacher.
There's another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No.
don't blame you. But that's also tricky, yeah, because you're a male. So, I mean, if it's a boy doing it and you're a male, then I think that's easier to deal with that as me as a woman. Eh? I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't touch that. I wouldn't even go near it. I
Yeah.
would yeah.
I don't care who it is. It's not something I want to do. If I see that happening, or if I notice that happening, then I will just tell them, you have to go to the office. They're going to call your parents. There's nothing I can do. This is unacceptable. And that's it. I wouldn't, there are some things when they're looking at something, then I'll be like, stuff where people are like walking the street, like fails and people getting hurt, right? Those epic fails where someone falls and I'm like, oh my gosh, that person probably got hurt, right? I'll have a conversation with, that's not appropriate. I mean, you're laughing at this and this person could have got hurt. Is this really funny? Like if this was your mom or something, would you be laughing, right? So like I may jump on that, but inappropriate or adult stuff, I'm not interested. I first of all, no matter what I do, I'm in the wrong position because if I don't handle it exactly right, even then the parents will be calling, right? No, I don't get paid enough to manage that. Let administration take care of that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now I would do the same.
Yeah.
You're completely right on that. It's just not worth the hassle that brings. But do you think like students are more vulnerable because of the smartphones with like the suicide challenges and stuff?
Yeah, they're more susceptible for sure to everything, to suicide stuff, pornography, to all of that stuff. They're more, but they're also more available to the help hotlines and the people who can help them. So I think it's a double-edged sword. But yeah, they're holding in their hand, everything they ever needed to go down those bad paths, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes a telephone is a loaded weapon, isn't it? Really.
It all absolutely is. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I've got another question. Well, I've got a few more.
Yeah.
Questions,
Of course.
What measures do you think can be taken in school setting, Nana? Because the parents, what they do is up to them. But within the school setting, what measures do you think we can take as education givers to ensure that the students are safe online and also with Snapchat and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think, and this is what I do the first 2 weeks of school. I have it, how to remain safe online. And we talk about like that other video. I feel like all you can do is educate them early on and just do it every year because they need to, how students are. Like hearing it once in the beginning of the year is not going to mean they're doing it all year long, no matter what it is, right? They start to, test the boundaries and all that. And then maybe they don't even know they're doing it. But I think we just have to repeat with students. You just have to repeat the same thing over and over again. They eventually start doing that. So I think the measures we need to take is what I've kind of been doing is showing videos and talking about to what extent can someone be building a profile about you and what can they do with it, right? Yeah. You hear stories all the time of some young man sending pictures of himself out to what he thinks is some girl, right? And then it's one of those those ransomware things where they're like, okay, we're going to sell this unless you pay it. He has no money and he kills himself. Like it's happened like 6 times in the last year. And I have these conversations with my son too, telling him, don't put this information out there. Like the minute you do that, no one on the internet is who you think they are, right? Like they just aren't. And if something like that did happen, please come to me first. I'll help you, right? And so, I worry about that stuff. So I do a training about what the possibilities are of you putting stuff out there. Your job one day, like your future boss can know that, you skateboarded off a roof and broke an arm. Like who's hiring someone like that, right? Like I'm not. So, yes, I do worry about that.
Yeah. But do you also give this training to parents or is it just student exclusive?
It's just students, but that is a really good idea. I mean, part of what we do could be a parent training cyber awareness night thing or something. That's a really good idea. No, I never thought about that, but just the students.
Yeah, because we haven't at the start of the school yet. So this week was my open evening for parents, and I asked parents, do you read your messages that your children send? And all of them said no. But what do you think about that? Should parents read their kids' apps?
I don't read my kids' app either. I know. I should. I thought about that. I have to trust him. Now, every now and then, he'll go in the shower and leave his phone out, right? And I'll be like, hey, ooh, right? And I'll go over and pick it up, and I know it's bad, right? Like, I know I shouldn't do it because I trust him. And unless he's deleting everything after he does it, which he may be doing because his dad's a computer engineer, unless he's deleting every single thing he does, but after he does it, there's nothing on there other than very safe kind of, chats and all that. And there's nothing in his history that's derogatory. So do I think parents should do that? I do. I think they should. Every now and then I do it. But I mean, it all really depends on the student, right? You have to kind of know if this is someone you can trust or if you've had problems before. But, are the signs there? Like, if the signs are there, you definitely have a reason to look. So
yeah, definitely. But it's also what you said there, trust. You really want to trust your child,
right.
But at the same time, if you read it, are you protecting them,
Right.
or are you violating their privacy? It's tricky, yeah.
Well, I want them to trust me that I trust them, but I don't trust anyone. Like that.
No, I don't trust anyone either.
That's really it. So yeah.
No, yeah, because my son is 11. He's here next to me looking. But no.
You don't want to be on the internet.
Yeah, you can ask him what he thinks about it. Do you ask him? It's coming, Roman. You have to speak English though. Do you think parents?
Hi, Roman.
Hey, do you think parents should read their children's WhatsApp messages? No. Why not?
They have their own privacy, right?
I mean,
Privacy.
I kind of agree with him to some point. That was a quick no from Roman, by the way. He was like, no.
Yeah, not going there.
Yeah.
No. But then, okay, but then I found myself in a situation a few weeks ago, the last week of the school holiday. At 10 o'clock in the evening, I get an up from his friend's mum. 10 o'clock in the evening, and my husband and I, we've had 2.5 bottles of wine at this point. We're not in any kind of reasonable state. Yeah, and then and my son and your son, and they've got, and they're on a fight in the group chat, the boys. Okay, so she sends me all these screenshots, and then I said, oh God, yeah. So I'm reading it through, and all of a sudden my doorbell rings. She's on the front door. It's 10:15 in the evening. I'm 2-0 behind because I've only just got the apps from her. And she reads her child's text messages. And he came to her and said, Mama, this is what's happening between Roman and I. What do you think? Do you think openness between parent and child is crucial for online safety?
Yeah, I think it's important for everything, not just online safety, but sure, for sure. Because I don't want to snoop in my son's life more than I have to, even though I do, I have regular conversations about this, right?
Yeah.
Let's just talk about what you're doing. You know not to do this, right? Do you know? He's like, yes, I know I shouldn't do that. I know I'm not going to do that. I know what can happen. And okay, but let's say it did happen. You saw this picture of this girl. She was absolutely beautiful. Like, you're like, okay, I want to do this. And now something else happened it was not her. Right. And now someone's trying to hurt you. Right. Like, you can come to me. First of all, this happens every day and your name will be forgotten in seconds. Right. Like, they'll just move on to the next person. So, no one, if anything did come out in public, no one will remember you in a year and a half. But are you comfortable coming to me? Are you comfortable? And we've talked about this. So, I continue to talk about it with him because I don't want him to be a statistic or a number somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So I think parent openness and conversation is true. And like, I have to talk about them not only with this, but like his body and sex and future, when he's ready when he's ready to be with someone else, I don't, whoever that is, I want him to come to me because I've told him, don't go to your dumb friends to get advice on stuff like this, right? Because they don't know anything. Come to me, I'll tell you, right? I'll be honest with you, and I'll give you options. So, yeah. Yeah,
definitely. I think you're definitely doing the right thing. Yeah. Openness is key, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, absolutely. But do you think, because you have smartphones and WhatsApp and everything, do you think that's had a negative impact on face-to-face communication, social interactions?
Yes, I do. My students, I can tell you that many of my students, well, they're all computer science students, so they all walk in wearing their hoodies with glasses, and they're very incognito, and no one wants to sit near anyone, right? And they all want to just, I can't call their name. I have to send them a text or something, which isn't happening, right? So they're all like that, right? And I don't know if it's just computer science, but none of them can really socialize with anyone else. And that is kind of, and you know what? Think about adults, right? Like adults, when you and I were younger, we would go to a bar. Okay. I would have a water. Okay. Well, we go to a bar and we'd see someone and they'd buy you a drink. You'd buy them a drink or whatever. And we get to know each other and give them your number and maybe you go on a date, right? None of that happens, right?
As well,
Yeah.
So
What?
Oh, is he gonna call?
Yeah, right. Wait 3 days, then make the phone call, whatever. None of that's happening now. They can literally, people who are 18 and older, hopefully, they can go on an app and literally find out who's standing within 100 feet of them that's looking for someone, right?
Yeah.
And you and I, as if we're in the same room, and this happens if you go to a bar. Someone will be sitting on that bar stool, someone's in that bar stool. They're looking, using the app to see who's available, and it's the person 4 stools away from them. And they're contacting them through the device, and they never go over there, right? And they're like, "Oh, how are you doing? Oh, you're looking pretty good. Oh, yeah, can I buy you a drink or I send a drink?" And like you would pick up your drink normally and go over there. "Hey, beautiful, what's going on? Like, get your drink," right? And now, right, there's no social interaction. So does the phone do that? It does. Yeah, we're definitely seeing some sort of repercussions from not having that experience or confidence that you get from making a move and standing up and going to say something, right?
Right. Yeah, it definitely makes that easier to be more secluded, yeah, definitely. But do you think that's safe then? Just chatting people up, via the app in a bar?
All right, so I worry about this too, right? All right, so in the old days, like I would meet someone at a bar or something when I was younger, and like we'd go to their house or something. I would never do that in today's world, like at 2 a.m. or something. They would chop you up or something, right? But was it stupid back then without the phones? It sure was, right? So
maybe we chopped you up back then, but no one knew it.
yeah. Oh, yeah, right. So does the phone open them up to more creepy things online and all that? It does, right? Because now people can easily hide behind the phone and be someone else. Before, you at least you saw them in person, you can kind of tell. Well, you're not 40 anything. You're like 75, right? So my fear is that, and I know we're talking about with adults. My fear is that like my kids are playing chess online. I'm like, who are you playing chess with? Oh, some person, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, how old is this person? And like, I don't know. And I'm like, what information have you given them? What do they know about you so far? They're like, they know where you go to school. They know how old you are. They know your name. Like, I'm uncomfortable with that. That's too much for me already for someone that you don't even know if they're under 18, right?
Yes.
So, sure. Yeah, that's a problem.
But you've got these online games now, which our children are addicted to. I'm not going to name names, obviously, but I think you can guess what they are. But do you think that online gaming, in real-time games, MMOs, are safe for our students?
I think it's safe to a point as long as they don't give away anything that will enable someone to know where they are. Right?
Yeah, but do you think that are our students that savvy enough not to do that? Or are they just naive?
They're not smart at all.
Yeah.
I think we've determined that. Okay, well, it really comes down to, you know what? I do have a lot of trust in our students. It really comes down to, did they get the right education to know not to do this? I think overall, they know where the line is, right?
Yeah.
So I don't hear a lot about that where I am, about kids being preyed upon by adults because they gave out too much information. I know it happens, but maybe because I'm computer science and it's mostly boys, I don't hear that often. But you see those things on the news all the time where they entrap people and some old guy going to some 13-year-old's house. And you're like, what the hell? Like, what?
Yeah, I've seen that program in America. Dateline or whatever.
Yeah, Dateline. Yeah. So that's always whenever someone's like, I'm playing with someone, I'm playing chess with someone on the internet, boom, that's what I'm thinking, right? It's Dateline and it's some old guy, playing, chess with you on the internet. And now they're like, hey, good job. You want a burger or something or whatever. Yeah. So,
exactly.
Yeah. I definitely think, but I have to, we just have to keep reminding our kids and our students, here's where the line is. That's okay to play the game, but the minute that they're asking for something outside of this game, it has to stop, right?
Yeah,
it has to stop. You're in danger. You're putting your family in danger. You're endangering people. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I completely agree with that. You're in danger. Don't do it. Just don't do it. But I must admit, I met my husband on the World of Warcraft 16 years ago. So I mean, I'm not really the one to talk. But then, we had MSN Messenger, right?
Yes, yes. Remember that?
And then we spoke on the webcam.
Yeah.
So I saw him, and I knew, it was really him. It wasn't, some 12-year-old naughty kid pretend to be someone older. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
And but nowadays, with all these face-changing apps and stuff and AI,
Yeah.
Even if you did have a webcam conversation, are you really sure it is who they say they are?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I just you can't trust anything. Like I've said, nothing is what it appears to be on the internet. You can't take any of it. You have to, unless you meet someone in person, you at a neutral place, right? Unless that happens, I mean, listen, at least it wasn't Dungeons and Dragons you might have met, right?
Similar.
But I think nothing is as it appears on the internet. We just need to keep training and keep reminding.
Yeah, definitely. But do you think? Because I mean, if I look at myself, do you think students are actually dumber? Are getting dumber instead of more smart? I know it's a harsh question, but because they've got all this technology at their fingertips, do you think their problem solving skills are actually worse or better? What do you think?
All right. So I don't think they're getting dumber. I think that they're way more connected and they have access to more information. But I think it's getting more frustrating for us to watch, right?
Yeah.
Because when I go, hey, what's the problem to this? They go, hey, Siri or Alexa, I don't want to say it too loud. What's the answer to this? And it tells them, okay, problem solved, right? All right. Remember when people told us, listen, you better know math. You're never going to be walking around with a calculator in your pocket all the time. Well, actually, yes, I am, right?
Yeah.
So, right. Yeah, not so true, right? So I think it's kind of the same thing where, they may not be good problem solvers in that aspect, but they immediately know how to get the answer to everything, right?
Yeah.
And that alone is something we didn't have. So it's easy to look at them and go, they're dumb, they can't do simple things. But the fact is that they can do so much more with the tools they have that we didn't have.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're smart in different ways than we
Yes.
were. Yeah, definitely. Let's think. Yeah, just going through my list of questions. Have you got any questions?
No, these are really good. I love the whole topic of internet security and phone, vulnerability and all that. So,
yeah, because I think it's such an important topic nowadays. Is online safety for our children, and not only our children, their children too, because it's only going to get more advanced.
Well, I think you and I are really vested in this because we both have school-age children, right?
Yeah.
Because my students are like, they'll talk about how mean some of their teachers are, right? And, those teachers have been teaching for 30 years. Their kids have come and gone. They haven't seen a child in their household in years, right? And with me, I'm much newer at it, and I'm a dad of a teenager, which is what I teach. So I'm kind of like, you can't be that and not understand teenagers because I'm right there with them, right? So it definitely makes me seem more approachable and more likable. But, and I think that's just because you and I have school-age children. Yeah. So we have the patience for this, right? At some point when my kid's not at home anymore, I'm not gonna have patience for that stuff anymore. I'll just be like, listen, I'm done with that. I finished it years ago, right? Like,
yeah, definitely. But also, I'll tell you a secret. I can't operate my TV very well. I have to kill Roman always. He gets mad at me. Mama, it's about time you learn. I'm like, yeah, shut up. You're good at this. I'm not. You're going to have to help me out. But do you have an issue with ChatGPT in your school?
So I haven't used it yet, but we have a policy now at the school with it. Mm-hmm. So you can use it under the teacher supervision in language arts. And it's so first of all, everyone in the school is required to have a ChatGPT account.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. So we all have one now. I've never used it. But you can only use it in language arts. Now, with where I am, our whole curriculum's online and it's all about computers. There's really nothing that they can use ChatGPT to do, right? But I can imagine, like in math and all that, it's very easy to use ChatGPT to get answers and show you the work. And you can just copy the work down that it shows you, right? So, and some of my teachers are using ChatGPT to write like, bylaws for clubs and all that stuff. So they're all using it. Do we have a problem with it? I think the fact that we're using it is a problem to start with, but that's where we're going, and we're not going to be able to stop it. So now it's just a matter of, can I tell if they're using it on assignments? And if that's the case, then we're going to have to come up with additional rules. That's where we are as a school with it, making sure that they don't turn it in for assignments.
Yeah, because I teach English in school, and English is then a second language to our students.
Right.
And I gave them an assignment last week that they can do something with a book, The Fault in Our Stars. And I said, I would prefer to have an essay or a written piece of work with mistakes in it than a polished essay from ChatGPT. Because firstly, I can see it in the plagiarism checker. Yeah. Secondly, I know it's not your work. And thirdly, you'll get a fail, and there's no comeback from that.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather have that. I'd rather have an essay full of mistakes than something perfectly polished.
I agree. I mean, we're not seeing any growth with something from ChatGPT. We'll definitely see personality and growth when you're writing something, and there's room for improvement. There's no room for improvement with ChatGPT.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's another thing we do with the assignments we set. Okay, we use it as a measuring tool. Well, we do. I don't know about you guys, but okay, this is how they're doing here at the start of the year. Do we see an improvement at the end of the year or halfway through?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's tricky. Yeah. Do you think our students will have less job opportunities in the future because of the AI?
I don't. I think they'll have more job opportunities because of it. In my field, cybersecurity is a huge problem, and I can tell you right now, there's not enough students coming out anywhere near to fill the jobs. People who are leaving in the U.S., if you get a degree in cybersecurity, you are absolutely employable immediately for over 6 figures to start with.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can leave this job right now and get a job making a lot more money.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I love what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing this. So, no, they're not. They're going to be in a much better position for employment because everything's going to be involving cybersecurity and ChatGPT or artificial intelligence, and they're the ones that know it, not us. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So that was quite insightful, the last question. I didn't realise that. Yeah, because I don't teach computer science. I only teach English. So, yeah, you're the guy in the know. Eh?
Yes.
So just pretend we have some of our students watching this, lo and behold. What advice could you give them, do you reckon, to help them be safe in the future?
I would just, again, remind them the same thing we do in the first week or two of class, that everything that you do is tracked and recorded. Everything, right? Think about like when you hear about, things in the news, like someone's being indicted or whatever, and they go back and they take everything that was ever on their phone, right? They take every phone call they've ever made, right? They take every conversation they had in their house when no one was there and someone had a listening device out like a block away, right? Like everything is recorded, and everything you say, and plus they take pieces of what you said and put it together and make a completely different sentence, right? And they can record your voice and make up new dialogue that will sound like you said it, right? So everything that you do, everything that you say, everything's tracked, and not only will it affect your future, it could also affect your family and all that. So I would just remind them again that there's no erasing a digital footprint, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No. Well, I'm done with all my questions. You got anything to add that I haven't thought about?
No, I think this was really great. I really appreciate doing this. And I know it's hard to line us up. I one day want to head to Europe after my son goes to college and is gone and teach over there.
I can hook you up. Don't worry.
Yeah, I know. You've already tried to hook me up. Last year, you were like, "We got a job for you today," and I'm like, "I'm not quite ready to leave, but okay."
Pack a suitcase. Come on.
But I was like, "Tim, pack your bags. We're going to the Netherlands, right?" He was like, "What?"
Yeah, because Tim can work here too. He's got a medical degree. So no problem.
Yeah, I said, no. Jennifer will find you work. There's plenty of hospitals over there. She knows people. We're good. Don't worry about it, right?
really screaming for people at the moment. But yeah, depending on what he does, they can he can get a job tomorrow as well. Come on.
Yeah. So at some point, when the time comes, I'll be calling you, going, "All right, what's available?" I would love the opportunity there. So, well, it's been really great. I really appreciate your time today. We got to do this again. You what?
Thank you for having me
Oh,
again.
absolutely, of course. So we'll see you next time. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, Jennifer.